Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of AKP Sports Talk. As always, I'm Ari here with Korea. We have another big college basketball Saturday. All-Star weekend started yesterday and Friday. It continues today into tomorrow. We'll just get right into it. Korea, you have two plays, an All-Star weekend, two plays college basketball. What do you got for them?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at this All-Star weekend, there's not much hype around it, and for good reasons because it's an indie. I mean, whoop-de-doo. But first, I'm taking the three-point contest, probably one of the only few contests where there's no juice lines or anything. But I'm taking Tyrese Halliburton here at plus 450. I'm just taking a hometown kid here. Those hometown rims do usually play a favor here, and I do see the pretty much the big two favorites are Dame and Tyrese, and I'm just taking the hometown kid at plus 450 here. I think that's a great value for Tyrese Halliburton. You're getting him in his home court, with those similar threes. I feel like that Milwaukee Indy rivalry may even continue a little bit here. We've heard Dame will chirp a little bit these past few days, and Tyrese Halliburton. He obviously, we talk about him being the hometown kid representing for the city of Indianapolis for the Pacers, and we've seen him be one of the more consistent shooters from 3-point range, just not even this season, but just in terms of, him as emerging as the star, that not many people knew. And, now he's kind of burst onto the scene. So I just like him to just win this at plus 450, just sprinkle a little bit of money on it. There in terms of all these all-star weekend props, I'm just tossing a little bit on it just because I'm not taking any of this seriously because it's all-star weekend, for God's sakes. But I do like this play just for Tyrese Halliburton to win it at plus 450. I think you're getting good value for him, especially on his home court. You have your other better shooters, guys like Dame Lillard. We talk about Trae Young, Malik Beasley's in there. But in terms of just home court guy, even everyone clowns him for his weird shooting method or whatnot. I think him at plus 450 is a great value there. So I'm going to take Halliburton to win the 3-point contest at plus 450. And then I look, I see the name on the screen, right? I'm not fading Steph Curry here. I'm just seeing there's some good money here. There's some good value for Sabrina at plus 160, and I'm just going to throw a little bit on it, not even putting a whole unit on it, maybe even half a unit. I'm just a little bit better, a little bit more money on a little bit money on Sabrina Ionescu to win that 3-point. I don't even know. Is it like, are they doing like a 3-point contest? Like, is it just like one-on-one? I see. This is why I don't follow like the All-Star game. Like, what are we doing? Sabrina versus okay, whatever. But I think there's some value for Sabrina. She's probably been practicing. I think I saw the line way as high as I think Sabrina was like a plus 300 underdog at first when I think this match was opened up and there were betting lines first dropped and then all the way dropped down all the way to pretty much plus 160. So you're getting some good value there, now, even though obviously when it first opened it was plus 300. I just think, there's some good value for Sabrina. Obviously Steph Curry is the GOAT, and there's no, there's no debating that here. But just in terms of a little competition, I think Sabrina definitely wants to win this. She really does think that she is the better shooter out of the two. And even though I expect Steph Curry to be pretty much lights out, the more consistent shooter, maybe Sabrina will throw a surprise. And if not, I'm not myself too much over it just because it's an all-star game prop and who cares? So I'm taking those two an all-star game weekend tonight. And then going back to my actual favorite sport in the hardwood for college basketball, I'm taking two overs today. First, we're going in Kansas and Oklahoma. I'm taking that over 142. When we saw the biggest thing for me heading into this game was the health of Kevin McCullough. Found out this morning that he's healthy. He is playing, so I'm taking that over. He is a big part of that Kansas's offense. We saw him in their last game against Texas Tech where they couldn't really do anything. They lost by 30. And yes, having one of your star guys out is a big problem, but you still can't lose by 30. And I don't really want to back Kansas on the road in this spot, especially how we saw them on the road last time against Texas Tech and then Oklahoma. I feel like this is a trap line for them as a home dog. Maybe, it's just the fact that, Kevin McCullough is coming back. I do like Kansas here, but I'm just taking the over. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored here. We talk about home, one of the better offenses, at at home, facing off against a good Kansas team that, obviously we talk about how good their offense is. And now that they bring back Kevin McCullough, a key piece of their offense, I just like this over. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored in between these two teams today. So give me the over at 142. And then another game where I'm expecting a lot of points, Kentucky and Auburn down in the SEC. I'm taking that over. I saw it at 163.5. I got it at 164.5, and I love it at 165.5. I take it all the way up to here. I think that's like even minus 110 on DraftKings right now. And I think this game is going to be really high scoring. We talk about how Auburn at home is one of the better high scoring teams in the SEC in terms of the country in general. And then they're facing a good Kentucky team who obviously we talk about how Swiss cheese their defense is, but in terms of how offensively these guys play, they're one of the best group in the country in terms of offensively. And yes, it is a little nerve-wracking having to back them in a really tough road environment like Auburn, but I feel like Kentucky will probably hang on to keep this a little bit closer than the books expected. I think Auburn is maybe like a 10.5 point favorite, and I just cannot back Auburn to be 10 points better than Kentucky, and no matter if it's neutral or whatnot. I just think these two coaches know each other very well, and I think it's going to be a very close game. So I'm just going to take the over. I think this is going to be one of the higher scoring games of the day. We're talking about Auburn's offense at home, one of the best in the country, and then we're talking about Kentucky and their offense is one of the best in the country. But obviously the caveat for Kentucky is how defensively they're not great. So I'm just taking those two overs, and then obviously Tyrese Halliburton and Ionescu to win their 3-point contest. Just money, I'll probably put maybe half the unit on both of those. Ari, what do you got cooked up for this Saturday?
Yeah, two college basketball plays for me. First, we talk about Iowa pretty much all season, how much better they are at home than on the road. They're at home today hosting Wisconsin. I've seen just in the past half hour since the line go from +1 for Iowa to it being a pick 'em. So, lines going in Iowa's favor slightly. I think Wisconsin beat Iowa by I think like 11 or 12 when they were playing at Wisconsin. Now they're at Iowa. And again, just backing a team that we know shoots better at home, scores better at home, does everything better at home compared to on the road. So I'm backing Iowa here, basically a pick 'em at home against Wisconsin. And then going to Central Florida, Cincinnati, under 136.5. Two steady defenses. Central Florida typically plays better at home, which I think that this is at Central Florida. I considered backing Central Florida on the money line as well at -118. But I felt a little more comfortable backing both defenses here. Cincinnati is also not as good scoring on the road compared to at home. Again, with teams just being obviously being more comfortable at home compared to on the road, obviously. So backing that under. So just two plays for me: Iowa money line hosting Wisconsin, and then under in the UCF Cincinnati game this afternoon.
Yeah, you mentioned Iowa at home, and we always talk about how Iowa's always better at home. I just can't back anything in the Big Ten anymore because that conference is so goofy when it comes to betting. So I'm just going to stay away from that. But I do lean Iowa at home. You mentioned, better team at home, better offense, taking them at home. You mentioned the last time those two teams played in Wisconsin, it was pretty much a beatdown of Wisconsin beating Iowa by double digits. Now you're almost getting them for a pick 'em at home. I do lean Iowa as well. And then talk about UCF and Cincinnati, two good defenses. Cincinnati's offense does struggle a lot on the road here, and I do like that under as well. Talking about just backing two good defenses in this spot. I do like both of those picks. You can find all of these picks once again on our Twitter, AKP Sports Talk. We will have our full card posted momentarily for today. Obviously, we have a ton of college basketball. Obviously, we mentioned just a little bit of all-star game props here. Obviously, the all-star game tomorrow as we get forward into the weekend. But that's going to do it for this episode of AKP Sports Talk. That is Ari. I'm Korea. We'll be back on Monday, obviously going over our recap from this weekend, obviously getting into another week of betting. And obviously we're getting near the end of February, which just means we're getting closer and closer to March. And that makes me more and more excited. But that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. That is Ari. I'm Korea. We will see you guys on Monday.